cannot wait to introduce you to my guest today, Nicole Harvick. She's a quantum energy healer and a forgiveness expert. Can't wait to hear about that, but first...
Facing head-on the emotions beneath the surface as we bridge from an old world of confusion and lack to a beautiful new world of freedom, abundance, and love with straightforward truth and inspired hope is what you'll find on The Charla Anderson Show. Collector and connector of fascinating people. And everyone is fascinating. Here's your host, Charla Anderson.
Good, beautiful day, you beautiful, beautiful souls. This is Charla Anderson, host of The Charla Anderson Show, collector and connector of fascinating people. And everyone is fascinating, especially you. Cannot wait to introduce you to my guest today, Nicole Harvick. She's a quantum energy healer and a forgiveness expert. Can't wait to hear about that. But first, let's take a 22-second mini vacation. Let's breathe in some calm, hold for 4 seconds, and then breathe out some gratitude. Let's go. Here we go. Breathe in calm. Hold. Relax, release. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. There we go. That's the way I start all my presentations, and that is, kind of gets us settled and grounded. We probably should do it multiple times a day just to get some grounding. I cannot wait. Okay, so Nicole Harvick, and she is an author in the Change book series with Les Brown and Jim Lutz and Jim Britt, like I am. And that's where we met, in that amazing mastermind that they provide with that whole group. Nicole, thank you so much for joining me today. Who are you in this world? And we're going to talk about all kinds of stuff, but this forgiveness, healing, their energy work, quantum energy work. What does all that mean? Let's talk about who you are in this world.
And it's so funny that you say, who are you? Because just when I think I have a description, something will change in my life. And I look at it and I'm like, okay, how do I add this in now? How do I incorporate this? So I will have to say that my passion is forgiveness, because I went through a really bad divorce. And that's what really started me on this healing journey, because I was trying to heal myself. So I went and got, a certificate after certificate after certificate. And I was utilizing, Reiki on myself, cellular memory on myself, just all kinds of things. And I just noticed that regardless of what I was doing, I was losing my hair and I was scratching my skin until it would bleed. And I thought, what is going on here? And so what I discovered is I was not including forgiveness in this practice at all. That was just not something that had ever dawned on me. I was thinking something more physical, where, forgiveness is not really something tangible. It's something that's in your heart. And once I started reading about it, I learned all about Ho'oponopono, an ancient Hawaiian forgiveness practice that I started utilizing every day. And all of a sudden, I just started feeling anger melt away, resentment melt away, just all of those negative feelings that I had been holding inside of my body, which were making me sick. I was releasing them. I was just releasing them. Just something daily would come out. And that's when it dawned on me, I wasn't forgiving my ex per se. I wasn't like it wasn't like he still did that. I was forgiving myself. I was forgiving what he did so I could get those emotions out of my body. And I had to forgive myself for a lot of things as well, because I didn't use my voice when I was married. And I had to forgive myself for not speaking my truth. So that was one of the things that really was keeping me stuck. And so I just started forgiving myself. And what I did is I forgave myself because I didn't know what to do at that time. And since then, you can look back on something and see your mistakes. But when you're mired in the middle of it, you don't often know that if I don't speak up for me, no one does.
That's amazing. Yeah, truly. I remember when I left, it dawned on me as well. My term was, I just want to be heard. I came up with that as I want to be heard for what I'm saying, as well as what I'm not able to say. I want that kind of a relationship that, maybe ask a few more questions. Is that really what's going on? Or is that, what else is going on or whatever? If you're going to have a conversation in a relationship, I wanted to be heard. And I was not I'm a pleaser. I'm a server. I want to help. I want everybody to be happy and all those things. I was a flight attendant for 34 years, but I had bitterness and I was like this, and my heart, I had a bitter root in there. And one day, and I call, one of my books is called Split Second Transformation, Change Your Words, Change Your Life, 31 Daily Practices. But I had a split second moment of transformation from bitterness to joy. And it's permanent. I didn't know at the time it was permanent. It was not constant, but for the most part, it's been constant and permanent. And when you can, a transformation is permanent when it really takes.
Yes.
And so forgiveness is a huge key.
It is. And you said something so important that I want to go back to is the things that were left unsaid. That's what was eating me alive is, well, I should have said this. I should have done that. I should have. Well, you can't go back. You can't go back. And so that's really what I forgave myself for, was not speaking up in that moment of that now.
Yeah. And I have for decades, I'm like, the one question, the first thing I want to ask when I get to heaven, right, is like, why are relationships so hard? Why can't they just be, we've got to deal with all the rest of the stuff. Why can't we have easy relationships? Because and they are not. And it takes work and it takes effort. And so you've come up with a couple of things. First of all, you started working through the quantum energy healing and I know a lot about that. The Reiki and the Ho'oponopono, by the way, is another tremendous thing. And we probably will need to spell that and spell some of this stuff, because most people listen on podcasts rather than a live show. So, but I wrote what I called a forgiveness release in my tiny book called Candy Bar Hugs. It doesn't take much to make a difference. And I wrote it from Ho'oponopono, but I was writing it kind of to my children, and I didn't want to ask anything. So Ho'oponopono is, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you.
Yes. And, I can remember when I first learned about it, and I had spent just years, going to counselors and just book after book after book. And my first thought when I heard about this and read about this is, well, that's free. That can't work. That was my mentality. And I have spirit guides that I get downloads through, and they said, just try it. Almost like a parent talking to a kid. Don't judge something before you've tried it. So I did it. The two in between times that I love are right as we get up, because we're kind of in that where our subconscious will catch things and embed it. So right as I woke up and right before I fell asleep, I would say those words over and over just to me. And, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. And thank you. And it wasn't like overnight. It was a few days, a few weeks, but it's almost as if that weight, you have that weight of anger or that ache of despair, whatever it is. And all of a sudden, instead of waking up like, oh, another day, it was like, ooh, another day.
That's awesome.
There was a big difference for me. And that's when I realized, with all the modalities I had learned and been practicing, that what you need to start your healing with is forgiveness. particularly with yourself. We're so hard on ourselves as women.
Totally. And, so I believe you're, the other thing I believe that goes hand in hand is gratitude. I mean, starting with gratitude and starting with forgiveness. And I had years ago designed this little, meme or, graphic that is kind of like, love God, love yourself, love others, but it starts with gratitude and requires forgiveness, is the way I think I said it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, but either way, they're both go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
You don't have
very important. Very important. And that was the fun part as well, is when you do release a lot of those burdens that you've been keeping inside, you realize that just waking up in the morning, you wake up with gratitude that you're waking up. And I remember telling someone that I got to a point where I thought, I wish everybody could feel this way when they wake up. It would be it would be a whole different world. And it's just, you look around and you're like, my gosh, I have this house. My girls are healthy. You can always find something to be grateful for.
I got toenails. I mean, it doesn't have to be. I mean, sometimes when people are just really in the dark place, just finding something to go, I dropped my pencil in it and it didn't go all the way to the floor. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I didn't have to bend over. I mean, it doesn't have to, it can start with just 3 simple things and fingernails and toenails. Why not? I mean, we like them. We just don't think of them very much and be thankful for them. So yeah, I'm driving, just going, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, or I wake up in the middle of the night, thank you, thank you, thank you, because I've ingrained gratitude in my. I mean, it's who I am, right? I mean, it's just who I am, and when I don't, there's, I mean, no, it's not 100% of the time, but it has become, I'm content, in most things, just because I don't harbor anger and I've forgiven, and I carry the gratitude, and I do believe they're very close at hand.
That changes your life so dramatically.
And you said, you have a quote, you said, it doesn't mean you're weak necessarily to, when you forgive, it's not like, you're the strong one then. I mean, it's the attribute of the strong, I believe it's how you said it. And
yeah, it's by Gandhi, actually. Forgiveness is not an attribute of the weak. Forgiveness is an attribute for the strong, because it takes a lot to realize that, you've cast the burden upon yourself when you don't choose forgiveness. And so when you can forgive, you've released what is keeping you in chains.
Yeah, they may or may not have any clue that there's anything wrong. They've moved on. What is it though? You're drinking the poison, hoping that they will die. Is that whole thing?
Yeah.
You're holding on to something and hoping that you've got vindictiveness and revenge and all this kind of stuff, but you're the only one. It's focused on you.
Exactly. And I tell people, forgiveness is very, very selfish, actually, because it is only for you. And I, people are like, well, I'm not going to forgive this or that. They did this or that. And I said, if they did that to you, they really don't care about you. You're probably not going to get an apology. You're not going to get any kind of feeling that things are okay, because they simply don't care.
That is so true. So this, my little forgiveness thing that I wrote for in the it's a dedication to my kids. It's like, I did what I did. I didn't do what I didn't do. I did all that I knew to do with what I knew at the time, just like you did and are doing in your life right now. I love you. And it doesn't sound anything like Ho'oponopono, but that's where I was inspired from to write that, because we're all just doing all we know to do. Any given moment, we're
Exactly.
only doing all we know to do with where we are in that moment. And my favorite book that I talk probably more about than anything is The Four Agreements. And,
I love that book.
not
That
taking
changed my life.
anything, it changed my life, not taking anything personally
Mhm.
and not making assumptions.
Oh.
Can you imagine if everybody walked around going, well, and in my split second transformation book, it's like, isn't that interesting? What if we had conversation and instead of everybody being offended by everything, where did you come up to that conclusion? What if we had a conversation around, oh, that's interesting. How did you come to that conclusion? And, or tell me more. We've lost, it seems, so many of us have lost that agree to disagree and to have a communication around things.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and it was so freeing to me when I like you said, don't take nothing personally. And the minute I thought that was never about me, that was about him and his perception or judgment of what I did. But it wasn't about me. That was his problem, not mine. And so that is very freeing in terms of release.
We are not taught that at all.
At all.
Nowhere.
And we should be.
Here we are. We are teachers here. We gonna, as we share these things, that get the word out, get that freedom. You're a coach. You're teaching people. You just did a retreat this weekend, and you're teaching and healing people from these bondages. They're the chains that bind.
Oh, and it's so important. And one of the things that we were doing this past weekend, it was a women's retreat, but we were learning to tap into our higher selves, our higher consciousness, where all knowledge is stored. And, when you start understanding your power, a lot of times we go through life and we think our job is our power, or being a mom is our power. Of course, that was my superpower for a while. But when we really realize we have intrinsic power, we have power to heal ourselves. We have so much power, and we've lost that somewhere in the shuffle. So we're trying to bring that back. And boy, we had some epiphanies this weekend. We had tears this weekend. There's so many emotions. I tell people you don't know what to expect because you don't know what's going to hit you in the heart. So it's a safe place for women to, when they have that, like, oh my gosh, I never knew, or, that moment of just like, boom, it hits them. We've all been there. I've done tons of work, but don't think I haven't dropped to my knees at some point and cried or, sobbed, because I have. So, people are like, well, they cried. You didn't seem to have any emotion. I said, oh, I have tons of emotion. What you don't understand is I'm watching this moment of the perspective of this is what I had to go through to get to the other side. So my heart is full. When someone has this reaction, because I know that has just become a life-changing event for them.
Beautiful. And I wish everyone could have that perspective. I wish everyone had a moment and could absolutely step into their powerful beyond measure, the Marianne Williamson. You have no idea how powerful you are. And when you realize literally that the quantum thing you're talking about, Joe Dispenza and Greg Braden and Bruce Lipton and these guys, literally determining that quantum, it means we're all connected. From the beginning of time to the infinite time, all knowledge is available to us, all the wisdom of the ages.
Absolutely.
If we be still and know, that's the deal. That's why I do that 22-second little breathing thing. Just most of us don't ever turn our devices off long enough to listen to our own heart, our own spirit, our own intellect and our own instincts.
That's so true.
If we would only do what our gut tells us to do, we would be right 99.9% of the time.
Yeah, and what I'm teaching now is the heart space. The heart space is our true center as well. And because we are rising up in frequency and transitioning from a third dimensional frequency to a fifth, that's where you need to go. That your gut and your heart are going to give you the correct answers. And when you surrender to higher power and like you said, tap in with that mind, not the brain, two different things, but your mind, there, like everything is out there. Past, present, and future is there for you to grasp.
Brilliant. And nobody knows it. I mean,
I know it.
Yeah, I know it. And I've known it. I've known a lot of it instinctually a lot longer than most people would think, more than it's been popular, because it is getting out. People are looking at how our heart is really the brain. Our heart, there's the brain in the heart.
Brain connection. And
heart math and all those amazing studies and openness of the universe. And we have it inside of us. God lives in us. I mean, I come from the faith background, and I know that it's God and the Holy Spirit are in me. God says they're in you. And but religion has said it's outside of you. And this is where I think the biggest disconnect has come.
I think so as well.
Religion, which the definition is return to bondage. I love my faith. I love my God. I love my Jesus. I love all of that. But the religion has kept God in a box, and whoever they is out there that wants to keep us in control, they cannot control if you have all knowledge and all information, and you have freedom and you're happy, and they cannot keep you in that little box.
And that's very disturbing to them. Very disturbing. And I have people, because I meditate, obviously I need my quiet time. I'm a yoga fanatic, and demons are going to get in there. It's like, no, they're not. I protect myself, and they're not coming after you when you go inside. They can't get in there. You
unless you let them. Yeah.
Unless you let them.
So, I mean, I believe Jesus said, I can do all things. In John 14:12, you can do all things that he did. He says that I did, and even more. That means we can heal the sick. We can raise the dead. We can change the weather. We can, and, religion doesn't teach that.
No.
But for some reason, I've come into that knowledge or that, information, and feel it's spectacular when you can realize that we have it all inside of us. And
it's amazing.
The blasphemy thing, Jesus said we can do what he did and even more. So I'm claiming that. I'm claiming that promise and that gift.
I'm right with you with that. To have a Christ consciousness allows you to understand your power that is our birthright.
Exactly. Oh man.
Mm-hmm. So to me, it's like, this is, I don't think I know we're in a 26,000 year cycle with upgrades in the planet splitting and things being revealed. And I mean, I just sit here and I'm very grateful that I'm living in a time where I have this knowledge. And I want to share it, and I want other, not just women either. I want everyone to understand their power.
I believe men. It's just we've just been sold down the pike. We just sold the wrong message, and anything to keep us divided and disorganized and in chaos and in fear. And who I say I am is bold faith, no fear. And when I can say that and mean it, it's truth, and I don't have to defend it. I get to just be it. And when I
Be
was
it.
given the word,
Feel
just, you
it.
don't have to strive, just be. And I got that word multiple times in 2013. And I'm like, what does that mean? You know, you mean I just get to sit on the couch, you know? No.
Yeah, exactly. And then, that's fine for a while, but you're like, well, I guess I do need to take action so the universe sees that and sends me more. So I get up from the couch every once in a while.
Yeah, I know. And then I gave up watching television in seventh and eighth grade. I'm 71 years old. And, in seventh, I had got so addicted to soap operas that I didn't think I could go into eighth grade. Literally, and then the next summer when Jesse and Dr. Hardy were, still talking about the
General
same
Hospital.
thing. I had 3 Dark Shadows. I don't remember the third one, but I was like, I will never be addicted to television. What a gift.
I can't even hardly turn it on either. It is. I mean, talk about freeing up time, giving you your time back. And I remember, going to work, getting home, eating, and then popping that TV on till 10 o'clock when I went to bed. Must see TV was Thursdays. And it's like, oh my gosh. And I sometimes I'll sit in front of the TV with lunch and watch a rerun or something. I don't watch news.
Oh,
I don't
never.
Talk about depressing, right? And fake.
Fear. It's fear. And
Fear.
and if they can keep us in chaos and fear and divisiveness, us against them, men against
That's
women,
the whole plan.
it's a plan to keep us divided, and we cannot step into that power. If our power and being the best we can be and making a huge impact in the world, if we're upset with what the news just said, and I'm like,
I won't even, and I know so many people that still have that TV on all the time.
I just want it for noise in the background. I'm like, I will go for days without. I'll drive 8 hours in a day and not turn on anything. I mean, I'd rather, I just want to be still and know.
Yeah.
And so I know I'm unusual in that aspect, but it's the truth.
But I tell people that sitting in your own silence is a superpower now. And how are you
We're all just stuck to this little machine?
Exactly. And I ask people, they ask me, how do you get messages? And I said, it's downloaded through me, but I have to be quiet to hear it. So I surrender and I sit in my silence, and I love it. And that's, if I have questions, I ask. And if there are answers, I hear. But you can't have it if there's chatter, and I know we get monkey mind, it just chatters and chatters. But for me, that's where the meditation comes in, and my breathing. If you can control your breathing, you can control anything. And if you can take a breath, you have been provided for. This is another message I say, if you, there is no lack in the world. It's a distribution issue. But if you can take a breath in this moment, then you are alive. You have an opportunity then to, if you don't like where you are, if you're in the gutter, then you can take the next breath and make a different choice, do something different. But if you can take a breath, you have been provided for up until this moment in time. Absolutely.
Until you're pushing up daisies, right? I have a mentor that said, keep breathing free. And every day I get a message that says, keep breathing free oxygen. And I'm like, yeah, especially if you're in Texas, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah. You guys have a lot of oxygen there.
Truly.
Yeah, but no, that's very true. I know some people that cannot be by themselves, they have to have something all the time. And I think conditioning, of course, I unconditioned, and I know I will never go back to that person who had to, have the music on or have the TV on or be on the phone. It's like, no, I'm out. And even when I'm sometimes working, if I get a little flustered or something's not quite working right, I'll just step away for 5 minutes. And I always tell, Zen, go into my zone. And I say, there is an answer to every question. And for every problem, there's a solution. So let it come to me,
And I also say everything is always working out for me. And when it isn't, because it doesn't always feel like it is, if you continue with the bold faith and the going with knowing that there is a good answer, you're going to punch through it and not have deal. It's so much easier to deal with problems out of peace than upset.
Oh,
No matter where you are, no matter, I mean, it could be a horrific diagnosis or a horrific accident or whatever. If you can go, okay, this is all, where I am is all I have. I've got to deal with this. You can deal with it better with calm than upset. Upset draws upset.
well, and calm brings clarity if you give it a moment. Just sit there instead of that frenzy that you think you need to be in. You can take more logical steps toward what you need to work towards.
A lot of times I say this a lot, but if somebody, the easiest example, somebody cuts you off in traffic, right? I'm like, may you be blessed. Matt Kahn, may you be blessed. A master is one who blesses. May you be blessed. And then I go, and maybe they need to go to the bathroom more than I do, or whatever. So you can add some humor to your story.
Exactly. And that's how I learned not to make up stories, because we don't know.
That's assumptions, right? Yeah, you don't know.
Always, you have no idea. Is that person rushing home to a kid? Is there an emergency? I know some people drive terrible, but when I drive with my dad, he's always I'm like, don't make up stories. Don't make up stories. Well,
and they're not doing it to the vast majority are not doing it to you, which is where you take things personally and you make assuming that, well, they're cutting me off because, it goes back to the 4 agreements. They are generally doing for them or doing whatever they need to do and has nothing to do with you.
Absolutely. So why get mad and in a rage for someone that doesn't even know you're driving by them? They have no idea. And so, to me, it's like, okay, well, I'm fine. I'm going to keep going about my day. Wherever they need to go, let them go. I'm stepping back and taking that breath and releasing it.
May you be blessed. And when you can send, unconditional love, you might like this. I have it. It's in this tiny book again. Unconditional love, unconditional forgiveness, not unconditional boundaries. So there's that, right? We don't need to let people intrude into our space in a negative way. But unconditional love is my bottom line message, and the harder people are to love, the more they need it. Is the other caveat to that, right?
You're not kidding about that. And, I will be honest, with my ex, I do send him unconditional love. And the reason is he doesn't love himself.
There's the key. People don't love themselves enough to love other people.
Absolutely. And I also know that whatever I send back, I receive. And I don't want to receive hate or negativity or nastiness or greed or any of those things. So I only send out what I want back. And, does he receive it? I don't know. But I know I'm going to keep sending, because that is a person that does not love himself.
And I say this an awful lot, and bullies are victims too, right? They don't love themselves enough to love other people in a positive way at all. They don't know how, and they're reflecting that negative out on their others. And I love that perhaps we can teach people that are bullied not to be victims, right? I would like to see it shift, and just maybe they have learned to have not giving up a boundary, but receiving that maybe they don't love themselves enough. Maybe they're just
exactly.
You don't know what's going on at their house. You don't know.
I was just going to say, we can't judge because we don't know. And that's one of the worst things is people are a lot. And this, when I talk about this, I'm talking about more of a third dimensional frequency, that density of not as we're rising up and understanding. Some people are not going to have that opportunity. We're at a point now where my guides told me, if someone needs you, they will find you. But but some people are actually here in that third dimensional frequency to learn those lessons. So we just let them be. And then maybe, if you believe in reincarnation or coming back, or just simply having that lesson here in earthly time, that might change them for the better. So who am I to change them,
Truly. Well, what if there are a lot of people that are unfamiliar with the quantum energy, the Reiki, the Ho'oponopono, the healing, the past life information. And I'm an information gatherer. I've been I've been attracting so much information, and I get to go, that's interesting. Maybe that resonates with me, or it doesn't, whatever. But can you do something here just to give an example of what that looks like? Or is that more private?
No, it's not private at all, but I can certainly describe it, because one of the things when you have trauma in your body, and trauma can come from childhood, being bullied, it can come from a parent that is not, even just words, and it can also be ancestral. So this can come from grandparents. There's lineage that can travel down when you're born that you might not even know why you do those certain things. But guess what? Because of cellular memory, and, I'm part of my mom, my dad, my kids are part of me and their father, and my dad and my mom and my grandparents. There's some behavior that they might not even know why they do this. And there also can be trauma that's stuck inside the body. And I always tell people, you can talk about trauma all you want, but you have to physically release that. And when I talk about working in quantum, that's working in the past, present, and future. So, going back to the past to find it, right now to get rid of it. In the future, who do you want to become? Who do you see yourself as? And how we do that is I either use hypnosis or I'm going to use meditation. You get in a relaxed state of mind, and I start taking you backwards. I start taking you, where do you feel the pressure? Where do you feel that trauma? Because you can feel it. Mine was always in my gut or my left hip. I always felt it there. Then we identify it. What is it? And if they don't know right offhand, I'm going to have them go back in time, go back in time and find it. And it is always there. It is always there. Unless you physically release it, it is still in there, but you buried it so deeply in your subconscious. We have to dig a little bit to find that. And what I'm seeing now, because we as humans in the third dimension, they have a carbon-based body, which is a very dense body. And I noticed that before I had a DNA upgrade and rose up in my frequency. But I noticed back then I could bury things really deep, and I didn't want them to come out because they were so painful. But with this crystalline body, it's so much lighter. Things will come up immediately if something's bothering me, and I know how to release it. I know how to get rid of it right away. And I'm seeing that with a lot of people. All of a sudden, they're like, I don't know where this came from, but I have this memory of this. Well, it's because it's rising up because they need to release it. So it's becoming easier to locate and release where this is. And, once they release that, you're releasing that space of anger or animosity or hate, whatever it is, that negative emotion that's very thick, you get to replace it. And you're going to replace it with happiness or joy. Whatever you want to replace it with, you get to fill it up with something very, very positive. And people notice a change right away. Sometimes there's a lot of tears to get rid of it because it's emotional. There's tears.
Well, that child, that hurt child, that was you. That you survived it, and and then forgot that you survived it, and or that even sometimes it happens. So those traumas do hurt.
They do, and that's why we bury them. We don't want that hurt popping up as we continue our journey to, to adolescent, to teen, to adult, to parent. We try to block it and keep it pushed down. But I'm finding these things are coming up so often now. And it's at a point in time, like I talk about this new world we're having, that we don't need to carry those anymore. We don't need to suffer with that pain of carrying that trauma. Let's get rid of it and let's move on.
Awesome. So do you find people that are very resistant to hypnotherapy, so to speak? I believe I'm one. I believe that, I spent 9 hours, this girl, trying to go through, and I was like, or maybe I had cleared most of my stuff anyway. But
and a lot of people are working on themselves now. They know how to do it. But I'll give you an example for this weekend. I've been working with a client for months now. And I always tell her, we'll do the meditation we could do. She goes, no, I'm not doing hypnosis. I'm not doing hypnosis. And she was very scared of it. But stage hypnosis is very different. Very different. And so what we did is we did a meditation on a client this weekend, found some places where things were stuck and released it. And she had come.
Can I interrupt and ask this question? Are you and she in meditation at the same time, or
no? I guide the meditation.
Okay.
Now, because I'm intuitive, I can usually see, and help her release the problem because I feel it with her. I'll get an age, I'll get what's going on. Is it a parent? Is it a bully? So I do have the ability to tap in to that frequency and energy. So I do go into their energy a little bit. I'm shielded because I don't want anyone's energy but my own, but I do have the ability to see into that field. And what we helped her understand is when you're doing meditation and I'm telling you to breathe or release or relax, go deeper, they're commands. She doesn't have to do it, but she's relaxed. She trusts me. And that's a know, like, and trust thing, and I get that. But when it was over, we brought up the fact that hypnosis is very much the same. You're in a relaxed state. You're getting commands, if you want to call them that. It sounds kind of harsh, but it's the same thing. What do you see? How do you feel? Describe that. For what reason? So when and then we talked about highway hypnosis. Do you realize that when you're driving, you're in a hypnotic state? When you're watching TV, you're in a hypnotic state. When you're talking to someone on the phone, many times you're in a hypnotic state. So whether you like it or not, and whether you're afraid of it or not, so often during our day, we're in a hypnotic state.
So you're
and
just
when she understood all that, when she understood how I showed it to her, how I talked to her about it, and she's like, wow. So this whole time I was kind of doing hypnosis. And, I'm like, well, in a sense, yes. It's because meditation and hypnosis are similar. It's relaxation. It's understanding, But like I said, she knows, likes, and trusts me. I've known her for so many years. And she's like, well, that's not so bad. It's like, no, it's not. And we found a lot of stuff going on that we were able to release.
That's amazing. So we both know Jim Lutz. His profession is hypnosis, and professionally and stage, the big audiences, right. Which
and he's good.
They never pick me because I'm not really open to it. Yeah.
I'm not a good subject.
But how do they know who is,
Yeah, I don't know, but they do. And I've never been picked in an audience either because I do not relinquish my control or my energy to anyone ever.
Good for you. And so this, you talked about you're shielding yourself. And so I come from, I say Psalms 91. Psalm 91 is every protection promise of God in one chapter. So whether you're religious or not, if you want protection, I claim the Psalm 91 shield of protection around me and the 10,000 angels around me, all the time, especially driving. Or not too long ago, I think it was last week, we had tornadoes coming in. I just like Psalm 91. Thank you for your shield of protection. And it's about gratitude. It's not about begging. See, I think we've been taught wrong about how to ask. We don't beg. Please, please, please.
Right.
Thank you that it's already on its way, right? Thank you that I'm protected. Thank you. And gratitude, that's why I guess I continue to mention gratitude. It goes, you've got to forgive. And gratitude, when you ask for something, a protection, then, thank you that it's already given, and relax, release, and let it go. Michael Singer,
Exactly.
We've got everything. And when we continue to step into that bold faith, no fear, which is who I say I am and have for years, and I get robbed at gunpoint and had no fear, every word matters. This is also my book, every word matters. Split second transformation, change your words, change your life. Every word matters. 31 daily practices in this little book. And we negate so many of our prayers, for instance. We just, yeah, but I can't afford it. Yeah, but
Exactly. And that's what I tell people too when I'm helping you heal, because I use some light weaving and light language, which is color coded healing that goes directly into your body. I said, but if you go home and say to yourself, well, that's never going to work. Well, guess what? As within, so without. You've just negated your whole healing.
Honestly,
you go home and thanks and pray in gratitude.
Thank you that I'm healed. Thank you that I'm already.
Yes.
I mean, I don't believe in getting sick. This is another. I say this a lot, but I have 0 orange bottles. I don't believe in getting sick.
I don't either.
It's not arrogance. It's the authority that I can do all things. And so it's people think I'm cocky or arrogant about that. Oh, I don't watch TV. Oh, I don't. I don't ever get sick. Well, it's true. and why just because you can't understand it doesn't mean it's not true.
And I remember the last time I got sick was January of 2021. I got COVID, a very mild case, and I knew because I couldn't smell and because I was very tired. But I about a month ago, I got sick again, and it was because I got angry at something that I didn't release right away. It lingered in me for about 3 days, and I was angry. And guess what? I got sick. That darkness made me sick. So, and I know better. But it was egregious to me, and
But
so
it gave you a huge reminder, right?
Absolutely.
So we're all human. We're trying to get through just like as best as we can, and so yeah, it doesn't mean we don't have the emotions. But what I love about what you just said, you harbored bitterness or anger
3 days,
and so and when you even I did. I think it was probably about the end of the year, that same year, when I kind of got something. I couldn't breathe deep, and it was painful to breathe. And I'm like, but regardless, if something does come up, I don't remember releasing anything. I don't remember having the tie to an emotion that it probably was, but I still get over it much faster than most people would, because I rebuke it, right?
I don't have time.
Who wants to,
things to do and people to heal. I can't be sick. But it was just such a, I knew this, but it was such a lesson. Like, look, you did this to yourself, sister.
Reminder.
Absolutely.
Ding,
Absolutely.
ding, ding.
Yeah. So shame on me.
But it's also, I say it this way, sometimes he makes you lie down. So
yes.
Sometimes you need the rest, and perhaps the reminders come from that. So
Yeah.
Just a thought for you.
Absolutely. I love that.
So last words here? It always goes so fast, and I just love, this is my favorite hour of the whole week because I get to pick brains and just have fun and conversation that I don't typically have on a daily basis. So thank you for that. And
You're welcome.
where do you, let's spell your name and how people find you. Nicole Harvick.
Yes.
Nicole. It's spelled different places. Harvick,
Correct.
NicoleHarvick.com is basically where people can find you.
Yeah, that is my website, and I'm all over social media, and everything's in my name. I thought, I'm good. Even my email, Nicole Harvick at Gmail, that I'm just making it simple.
Right. I call it's brilliant branding, actually. Mine
Exactly.
is charlaanderson.com. I mean, it just is.
It's me.
Keep it. And for those of us that were lucky enough to get our website when it was available.
Yes.
Yeah. So that, I like that. It makes it simple. We have all kinds of other things. So quantum energy healer, forgiveness, forgiveness. What is it? The forgiveness. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm going to look at it. I've got it. The forgiveness expert. I knew it was again. I was saying energy, but I knew it was an E.
Yeah, no, it's and I thought, I've learned so much, I've read so much, I've studied so much, and it's such a concept. Such a concept.
And the power of forgiveness is what you talk about, and it's huge. Absolutely. And I just told you that my niece wrote a book called The Power of Forgiveness and has a forgiveness academy because she had been kidnapped when she was 7 years old by her dad,
Wow.
So
That's
she
crazy.
has, her story is. She went self-destruct right at a late teenager, and took quite a few years to come out of that. But it was forgiveness that did. So
yeah, that's crazy. And I even wrote a chapter in a book years ago called "The Alchemy of Forgiveness," and what forgiveness does is alchemy was turning steel into gold, and what forgiveness does is turns hate into love. It turns anger into happiness. So when you use it as alchemy, you're changing all your emotions with forgiveness.
Incredible. I mean, the quantum, it's, who would have thought? I mean, we thought the Jetsons were something in the future, but we're there.
We're there. I know. And you and I, among many other people, understand the importance of this time in history. And
I'm so grateful to be chosen to be alive in this moment in time as we are ascending or the vibration of the earth. This is you do the Schumann resonance, and back 20 years ago when it was at 7 or 8 or whatever, now it's shooting
off the charts.
A lot of people don't know what that is, but the Schumann resonance is the vibration of the earth. Now, an hour is still an hour, but it goes so much faster when the vibration of the earth. So
and that's the thing.
It feels like time is going faster.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's as if, a week is a day now. It's crazy.
So an hour is a minute. I mean, it just, you blink, and how did I get to be 71 years old? How did my grandbaby get to be over 3 already?
How does it's boom.
It goes so fast. And often, this is just another example of how much power that we actually have. Thank you for redeeming my time. I'm driving and I'm going to be late. Thank you for redeeming my time. And I magically end up on time, when I shouldn't have been, so
you can manipulate time. Time is just man-made, and the universe will help you.
Nobody, people, there's a lot of people that have no concept of all of that and the power and the beauty that we have to be able to.
And the fun. I have jumped timelines. I have been driving and I'll look over and I was in around hospitals and all this. The next thing I know, I'm in a neighborhood I've never seen in my life. So if you think, there is stuff.
The dimensions, time is like this, not like this.
I know,
and that's
I
that's
know.
I do the same thing sometimes.
So,
you're like, where
for me, it's fun. I love it. I'm like, oh, let's have another experience. Let's do that.
You're in South Carolina now instead of California. You were in California, and you're coast to coast.
California, Arizona, now South Carolina, probably soon to be Tennessee.
Oh, my sister and son live in Tennessee.
So nice.
That's cool.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Well, I have so enjoyed having our conversation. I do. Let's just end with this. The Jim Lutz, the Change book series. You don't find this book on Amazon. This is special. And either one of us, if you would like to have the credibility factor, anybody listening, of being one of the 20 authors in one of these books, we're looking for book number 23 or 24 now.
Oh.
And
yes.
it's amazing, and the value is in the Facebook mastermind group we have, the mastermind call. Oh my gosh.
It's Jim calls it a branding machine on steroids to be on the cover, and like, I interview the authors. We have a podcast. We have so many opportunities with Jim Lutz to train or be coached. And you can't just go out and get the wisdom of those two men. And we get it once a month.
They're brilliant, and they really masterful, and they're generous. They're so generous with their knowledge and help. And so that the value is not just the book. The value is the community. So, and I wouldn't know you if it weren't for that. So I love it.
The lady that I worked with this weekend, I met from the Change book. So there's collaborations. Amazing.
Beautiful. Yeah. I want to, I was thinking this morning, I need to do a little bit more of the, connecting my own community back to things. So that's it's been a great thing. So NicoleHarvick.com, and Nicole Harvick is the master forgiveness expert and quantum healer. And I'm so grateful that you joined me today. We will be in touch, and and the way I end every show is, and remember to always choose joy.
Parting is such sweet sorrow. The Charla Anderson Show. Encouraging you to stand strong and courageous with bold faith, no fear, immense hope, kindness, and love, especially towards yourself. Visit charlaanderson.com for replays, blogs, and more on her ever-expanding website, as well as watch her live TV show on winwinwomen.tv, Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. And so that we can continue learning together and growing this community of beautiful souls, we invite you to share the Charla Anderson Show with your circle of friends. Until we meet again next week, remember always, choose joy.